Okay, so we've got our rib now. This is the rib for the wrist. This is the hem of our sleeve that I've turned inside out. And before we sew the rib onto the sleeve, we just have to seam the rib together. So this is a 1 centimetre seam allowance. One rib piece. Okay, so what happens now is that this rib piece gets folded in half, and we'll just line up, open the seam allowance there. You probably don't have to press that, it does sit open quite well by itself. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put where the seam is, we're going to put that at the underarm. And we'll give that a pin in place, and then just push the cuff into the sleeve. And on the other side here, I've got a notch on the outside, so I've just divided the sleeve in half, and I've also got my halfway notch on my rib piece. So this is another one of those spaces where notches come in very handy. Now, you've got the 3 layers to deal with, so just make sure the rib edges are together. And we're going to start at the underarm here. And give the rib a pull so that it's stretched out, and then you can start sewing. So just go slowly, do section by section. Try and get the finish nice and even. Don't pull consistently so the rib's not a lot more gathered in one place than another. So there's the rib on our sleeve hem. Just see how you go. To me, just looking at this, if I put that around my wrist, it's even a little bit big. So potentially I would take a few more centimeters, maybe even up to 4 centimeters out of that rib measurement to make it fit neater around my wrist. But just remember that the more that the tighter you make this, the more it's going to be gathered into the sleeve. So I'll just pull it through to show you. So that's what it's the ease that it's making at the moment. You probably could get away with another couple of centimeters out of that, but it'll depend on the fabrication that you're using for the body of the garment as well. Okay, so this is the other sleeve rib, and like I said before, this one here seemed like it might still be a little bit big. But what's good, with the toile, because this is really just a first sample, is that you can try, if you've got 2 sleeves, try something different on both sleeves to see which one you like more. So here I've sewn in another 1.5 centimeters, which is 3 centimeters on the double, and I'm just going to trim that off. So just using the piece that I already had, but just making it a bit smaller, chopping some off. The only thing you really have to think about is the fact that if you do this to the sample, you have to make sure that you go back and make the pattern smaller. Otherwise, it might be just like the original one if you forget that you'd reduced it. So I'm just going to sew this in, and then I'll show you once it's sewn in. Okay, so this is the original one, and this is the one that I've just done and reduced 3 extra centimeters. So you can see that it is easing the sleeve in a lot more into the rib, but it just, looks better. This just looks a little bit flat and sad, whereas this one, even on my wrists, it is actually it's a little bit bigger than my wrist, but it just looks better. And of course, if you were doing, if you had this as knit as well, it wouldn't be quite as gathery here. It would sort of ease in a bit more. So yeah, just goes to show you how you can try 2 options on the one sample and then see which one you like better.